Hello everyone, welcome back to SQL Edge. In our previous video, we learned about the DDL commands, how to create, alter, and delete the database as well as the database objects like tables, procedures, and all. Today we will take the next step. We will learn about the DQL and the DML commands. Those commands help us to view, insert, update, and delete the data inside our table. So just a basic, what we have learned in the DDL, those are related to the structure of the tables, right? We were defining the table, we were defining the columns, data types, and all. So today the DML commands are totally dealing with the data inside the table, right? So how we can insert the data, how we can update the data, and how we can delete the data using DML commands. Before going to the next step, we will just have the quick recap from the DDL commands. We are using the create command to create the database. We have already created the student database. Then under the student database, I'm going to create a new table called students using create table command. We know like currently we don't have any table called students. So we can create the table students here, right? Command completed successfully. Now let's see how we can see the table here. Refresh it and you could see the table should be created here called students, right? So the next command we are going to see is the DQL command. We already have the introduction about all the types, right? So from that, one of the command we are having is a DQL, which is stands for data query language. This is used to query the data from the database. So using the database, we can see the data inside using this DQL command, we can see the data inside a particular table, right? Now using this create command, we have just created the structure of the table. If you want to see the actual table details in the tabular format in the SQL Server Management Studio, we are going to use the data query language, that is a DQL command. So DQL, I'll just give a one-liner here. DQL is used to query the data from the table, right? So we use the DQL command to get the data, right? And what we are having inside the command, what is the command we are having? It is a select command. So syntax for it, select star from table name. So this is what the general syntax we are having to get all the columns from the table. So using this command, we can get all the columns from the table. Now we know what is the table name we are having. We are having the table name as students. So we can replace the table name with the actual table name. Select star from students. So if you select this query and execute it, you will see the table structure that we have created, right? We have created the table with five columns: student name, student ID, first name, last name, date of birth, and city. We could see all those columns, but currently we don't have any data inside the table, right? So we use this select star from table name command to get the data, which is the DQL command. Let's say you don't want to see all the columns, you just want to see the student ID and student first name. How you could see that? You have to mention there is a bit change in the syntax. We have to mention column 1, column 2, column 3, and so on. So to get the specific column. Okay, so in this way you can get the specific columns from the table, right? So if you want to see only 2 or 3 columns, we can use the command like this, select from students, and we can mention the comma separated column names. So I want the student ID, student name. It is not a student name, it is a first name. And if you want to see only 2 columns, I could see the only 2 columns. Execute and you will see only 2 columns are listed in the result set, right? Then one more column, let's say I wanted to add age. No, we don't have the age column. Let's say city column. We can add one more column, select the query and execute it. You will see the result set and you will see the table structure without any data because we have not inserted any data yet, right? So we can insert. Now we can go to the DML commands to get to see how we can insert the data, right? Just we can define, since the select command is used to get the data from the database table, we can say it is a query language, right? Since we have not inserted any data yet, this will show a empty result set, right? But soon we will add the data and then we will use the commands to view the data once again, right? The next command we are having are the DML commands, right? So DML we will be using to insert the data, right? DMLs are totally related to the data. What are the commands we are having? Insert, update, and delete. So these commands we are having inside a DML command. So insert is used to insert the records in a table, right? So we can, using insert command, we can insert a record into the table, right? So just see the syntax first. Syntax. This syntax is nothing but the standard formula, right? So insert into table name. So we have to give the table name. Then inside a bracket, column name, column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4. So how many columns we'll be having? So, and I can just mention column n. So how many columns we'll be having, that many columns you can mention, and then you will provide the values. Values like value 1, okay, value 1, value 2, value 3, value 3, and value 4, and so on, like value n. So as many columns you will be having, that many values you need to provide to insert the data into the table. So let's insert some sample data into our students table. Just to replace this with the actual table name, insert into, what is our table name? Table name is students. Insert into student. What are the column names we'll be having? Column names are student ID, first name, last name. Then what else we have? We have the city, or we can say we have the date of birth, and then we have the city. So these 5 columns we are having into our table. We can now insert the values. Insert values, student ID 1, right? Let's say the first name of the student is Rahul, the last name is Patil, okay? Then age, we are going to have the date of birth. So date of birth we have to give in the YY, okay, YY, MM, and DD format. Let's say the date of birth is 1st of January 2000, right? And then city, I'll just mention the name of the city, something like Pune. Okay, so this way we can insert the record into the table. Let's select this insert query and execute it. Right, so in this way you have inserted the row. You can see one row affected. So now when we run the select query, we should see one row of the data inside a student's table. We could see now one row is inserted with all the specified details here, right? So similar to this, we can insert the record for any more rows as well. So second row, let's say I'm changing the name. This is the student ID 2, and it is having the name as something like Sneha Sharma. Okay, date of birth, let's say I'm changing this to the like 9th of October 1998, right? And she's residing in, let's say, Mumbai, right? So we can select the data and we can insert the record. So one more record is inserted and we can see the data into the table now, right? So this way we can insert the data. Let's say I don't want to do this one by one. I want to insert the data more than one records. Okay, so how we can do that? We can have the values comma separated. Either we can do this using multiple insert queries running together like 3 and 4. Okay, I can give the name here something like Amit Deshmukh. Okay, so let me change Amit Deshmukh. Small changes I'll be doing 1999, and he's residing in some Nashik. Okay, and fourth record I'm just again changing here like something Unka Dubai. Okay, and same date of birth, I'm just giving the place as an Delhi, right? So I can select both of those and insert this record, so it will insert 2 records at the same time. But let's say I don't want to write the insert query again and again, so what I can do, I can remove the insert query and whatever the set of values we'll be having, right? So currently, if you see, this entire open bracket and close bracket is having one row of the data, right? So after closing the bracket, I can give the comma and I can write another row, right? Same way, I can give the comma and give the data for one more row, and we can insert three records at the same time. Let me just insert one more record, Shubham, right? Shubham, I will say like Sharma once again, and I'm changing this to 2001. Okay, and he's born in, let's say, August month. Okay, and he's residing in again Pune. In this way, I can have the data for three rows and I can insert both of these three rows together. So select all the rows. You see here the first row, close bracket, given comma, second row, close bracket, given comma, and then third row. After third row, we don't have any more rows, so I am not giving any comma after that, right? Now just to select all the three, insert three values and execute the command. Now you will see three rows are affected. So in this way, we can insert three rows together. Let's run this select command to see the data here. Right, so in this way we can run the query to insert the data into the table, right? So this is what about the insert command. Next command we are having update command. So update is used to update the data inside a table, right? So we can update the data. Now we already have some commands here, some data here. If you want to change the data, right, so we can do that. Let's say I will add one more column here, alter table, using alter command. First what I'll do, I need to update the table and I wanted to update the data like college name for all the students. So what I'll do, first I will add the column called college name using alter command. Okay, college, and giving the data type as in varchar 50. Okay, so this is the column name we are having. And now for all the records, now you could see the column name college column is there, but it don't have any values there. So if I want to update the value for each of the record, I can use the update command. So update command we can use update. So we will see the basic syntax. Update, we have to give the name of the table. Then set keyword, set is used to setting the value, right? So in which column you are going to set the values, so that column name you have to give, and here you have to give the value for that column. Okay, then we have the where clause. This is an optional. Okay, so where is again to filter the data, column name is equal to value, but this where is an optional clause we are having. If you don't want to update any specific row and you want to update all the rows within the table, don't use the where clause. Okay, so replace this with actual values here. Now update, what is our table name? Table name is students. Then what we are going to set, we are going to set the value for college. Okay, and what is the name of the college? I will say MIT. I will say MIT and I will give the name as something like R&D. Okay, this is the name of the column, MIT. Let's say MIT Pune. So all are learning under the MIT Pune College. Okay, so if you execute this command, now after executing this command, you will see the MIT Pune value will be updated to this college name for all the rows, right? So how many rows we are having? 5 rows. You will see the college name value will be updated as a MIT Pune for all the row once we run this update query, right? So let's execute and now see the data once again using DQL select command. Execute this. Now you will see we are having all the values updated to MIT Pune for all the rows, right? In this way, let's say you don't want to update all the rows, we can use a specific command to filter the data using where clause, right? So let's say I want to update the data for this Omkar Dubey. I want to update the college name to IIT Delhi, right? So we can do that. IIT Delhi. I want to update this IIT Delhi. But if I run this, what will happen? All the rows will be updated to the value IIT Delhi. I don't want to do that. I want to update only for a specific person. So in the where clause, we can use that column name and the value. So I want to say like I can use many things here. If I want to use the student ID, I can use the student ID where student ID is equal to 4. So if I execute this, now what will happen? The student ID 4, okay, it will look for the student ID 4 and it will update the column called college and the value will be changed to IIT Delhi. So in this way, we can update the data using a particular row, not all the rows, right? We can use the student ID is equal to 4 or we can use any other value like student name. See the difference here. When I'm using student ID, the value I am giving is not within the quotes like single quotes like this. Okay, I'm just giving the numeric value. But when I am using the student name, I have to give the value into the quotes. Okay, student name, like it is not having the student name column, it is the first name. Okay, when I'm giving the first name, I have to give the value like this inside a single quote. Why this is? Okay, similar to this, you will see here as well. When I'm giving the value for the student ID, it is not in the quotes, but when it is value for first name, last name, date of birth and city, the all values are there in the quotes. Okay, so keep in mind whenever we have the integer data type, student ID, if you see the data type of the student ID, it is an integer. So if we have the integer data type, we don't have to give the quotes for the values. But if we have the data type as varchar, date, or like n varchar, we have to give the values in the quotes. Okay, so keep in mind. So let's update this for the student name. First name is equal to Omkar. Wherever the student name first name is having Omkar, we will update the college to IIT Delhi. Let's execute this and see the result here. And now you could see only the fourth row is updated to the IIT Delhi. All other rows are same only, right? So this is how we can modify the data inside a table. So we can modify the existing data inside a table using the update command. The last command into the DML is a delete command, right? So what delete will do? Delete is used to, I will say, remove the data from the table, right? So delete is used to remove the data from the table, right? So how we can use this? If you want to delete the record, we can use a delete command, right? So let's say if you want to delete the record for Amit, we can do that using delete command. Before that, I'll just show the general syntax: delete from table name, and here also we can have the where clause to filter any specific column 1, and then you can have the value. To delete a specific row, we can use where clause. If you want to delete all the data, just use delete from table name. Okay, first we will see how to delete a data from the table for a specific row. As I mentioned, we have to delete the record for Amit, who is having the student ID 3. So we can use delete from student name where student ID is equal to 3. Okay, before executing the command, let's see the data. We have 5 rows at this time in the table. Okay, whenever I execute this delete command, one row will be affected. That means this query is affected to the one row, right? And what is this query? It is to delete the data. Now let's see the data once again. You will see the record number 3 is now deleted. So delete command is used to delete the particular row from the table. We can delete the row from the table. Okay, if you are not going to delete a particular row, you want to delete entire table, you can use the command like delete from table name. If you execute this, all the rows from the table will get deleted. We were having 5 rows and now you will see there is nothing left inside a table, right? So we can simply use the delete command to delete the data from the table, right? Where clause is important whenever you are using update or delete command, right? So this is just a reminder. Always remember to use the where clause carefully. Otherwise, you might accidentally update all the rows or accidentally delete all the rows if you are not using the where clause, right? So let's have a quick tip. Insert adds the data, update modifies the data, delete removes all the data, and select is used to display the data. We have seen select is used to display the data in the query window, right? So this is all we were having today. Right, so we can just think of a table in Excel sheet. DDL create the Excel sheet and define its columns. DML is used to write, edit, or erase the data inside a column inside a Excel. And DQL is used to read or filter what we have written. Right, filter in the sense we can select a specific column. Right. So now it's your turn. What you can do, you can try creating a table, try inserting 3 or 4 more student records, update one of them, delete one of the record, and finally run a select query to see the changes are happening inside the table. I will give all these scripts inside the description box of the video. You can download it from the drive and you can have your own practice, right? So that's all for the today's session on DQL and DML commands. In the next video, we will explore the DCL and TCL commands to understand how SQL handles permissions and the transactions. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to SQL Edge for more practical SQL learning content. Thank you for watching and keep learning SQL with confidence. Thank you all.